This is the Lotto Foundation update.
This month on Lotto Foundation, we sponsored the cross-country championship to help athletes to reach their potential.
Basi timu ya kwanza ilikuwa National Police, timu ya pili ya majeshi na timu ya tatu Magereza. Wapigeni makofi jamani. Defending champion National Police Service. Wapigeni makofi. Watu makofi ya police.
Together, we are changing lives. Thanks a million.
Stay tuned for more updates from the Lotto Foundation. This is the Lotto Foundation update.
Last month on Lotto Foundation, we sponsored the annual Sawyer Awards, which rewards the country's most exceptional sportspersons.
Allow me just to acknowledge and thank our partners for their huge support towards making this event possible.
But tonight I want to prove to you as I stand here, disability is not an ability. The way athletes train together, live together like brothers and sisters. Let all Kenyans live the same way.
Together, we are changing lives. Thanks a million.
Stay tuned for more updates from the Lotto Foundation. This is the Lotto Foundation update.
This month on Lotto Foundation, we sponsored the cross-country championship to help athletes to reach their potential.
Basi timu ya kwanza ilikuwa National Police, timu ya pili ya majeshi na timu ya tatu Magereza. Wapigeni makofi jamani. Defending champion National Police Service. Wapigeni makofi. Watu makofi ya police.
Together, we are changing lives. Thanks a million.
Stay tuned for more updates from the Lotto Foundation. This is the Lotto Foundation update.
Last month on Lotto Foundation, we sponsored the annual Sawyer Awards, which rewards the country's most exceptional sportspersons.
Allow me just to acknowledge and thank our partners for their huge support towards making this event possible.
But tonight I want to prove to you as I stand here, disability is not an ability. The way athletes train together, live together like brothers and sisters. Let all Kenyans live the same way.
Together, we are changing lives. Thanks a million.
Stay tuned for more updates from the Lotto Foundation. This is the Lotto Foundation update.
This month on Lotto Foundation, we sponsored the cross-country championship to help athletes to reach their potential.
Basi timu ya kwanza ilikuwa National Police, timu ya pili ya majeshi na timu ya tatu magereza. Wapigeni makofi jamani. The defending champion National Police Service. Wapigeni makofi. Watu makofi ya police.
Together, we are changing lives. Thanks a million.
Stay tuned for more updates from the Lotto Foundation.
And greetings from the Moi International Sports Center Indoor Arena in Nairobi, Kenya, where we have got the ITTF Continental Cup Africa being played. We are at the knockout phase of the competition. It's the second session of the second day of matches that have been going on since yesterday. It is coming up to 14 1200 hours in Nairobi. That is 1100 hours GMT. I am Daniel Wahome, and in commentary will be Daniel Mwangi. So we've got our first match, and this is a semi-final for 9th place in the women's singles. And the player who's just been introduced Mauritius. How did they make it to the semi-finals for 9th place? In the playoffs for positions 9 to 16, Nandeshwari Jalim defeated Kenya's Sajal Takar in straight set of 11-4, 11-8, 11-8, while Aberdeen Litobaka defeated Chepiso Rebatene of Botswana in straight games of 12-10, 11-3, 11-5. So this is our commentary match that is being played on table 1. And the winner of this match will meet in the decider for 9th place, and against Abir Haj Salah of Tunisia and Kantia Kesasi of Algeria. All winners in straight games. Haj Salah defeating Celia Bar Danso 11-7, 11-6, 11-9, and Kantia Kesasi defeating Musfiku Kalam of the Republic of South Africa 11-8, 11-2, 11-2. So there they are, and getting ready to get the directions from the table umpires. The dimensions and tautness of the nets being checked. In your picture there is Jalim from Mauritius. We've seen both of them in action. Lito Baka in action yesterday at the group stages, and earlier in the morning session we saw Jalim in action. What is it that these two have got to offer as they fight for 9th place at this championship?
I think you're going to see some very interesting games this afternoon, because actually now they are fighting for position, and you know, what the positions they're getting will go towards their ranking in Africa, and I'm sure they will fight tooth and nail to win their games. So let's look ahead for some very nice games, skillful games. I hope so. I hope they will be, and we shall see what happens on the table.
Lito Baka, we saw her in action yesterday, and earlier we saw Jalim in action. Mm-hmm. What do we see from the two players?
Lito Baka had some very nice drives. She's got a controlled game, whereas Jalim has got a very fast forehand. Backhand is she doesn't use her backhand very much, but on the other hand, Lito Baka has got uses both wings, forehand and backhand drives.
So this match to be decided over 5 games, but later we're going to be having the semi-finals, rather the quarter-finals, and those are the matches that will be played. The championship matches proper will be played over 7 games.
Yes.
So for these athletes here, they still have got, you know, another set of matches to play today.
Oh yes.
Depending on how they play.
Yeah.
And across this indoor arena, other tables also having lots of action, and the fight for 13th to 15th also happening. Sajal Takar playing against Chepiso Rebatane of Botswana, and Celia Bar Dance of Ghana against Musfiku Kalam of the Republic of South Africa. So those are the women's singles, the playoffs for position 9 and for position 13. Actually, it's this semi-finals for those positions. The winners move on to play for position 9 and 10. The losers fight for position 11 and 12. That's in the matches, the first 2 matches, and in the other matches being played, it's about position 13 to 16, the tail end.
Yeah.
And at the end of it all, there is one question that every player will be asking themselves. How much do I take home? $25,000 is at hand for the winners.
And that'll be up for grabs as they fight it out. And I can see most of the other games have started, and on our table they're still warming up. But the game is just about to start. Over to you, Ahome.
All right. So serving fast is Little Baka, and she draws first blood in this game. She's got the first point against Jalin. Change of pace in the game, but that goes very personal. So there is chair umpire Rose Thombe. She's from Kenya, and on serve is Little Baka, and it's 2 long up to Jalin of Mauritius. On serve is Jalin, and she gets the 3rd point of the game.
And we also saw Jalim's characteristic service from the middle of her table to the middle of the the opponent's table.
So 3-1 on the score. I mean, on the screens, I know they're going to eventually catch up with the official score. 3-1 as it's a late call that has been made. And another point now for Jalin, the diminutive lady on your screen there. She's got 4 points now, and her opponent, Little Baka, has got 1 point. So, apologies for the strapping that is there. Jalin, yes, is on 4. The name is Little Baka, not Rabatene. Rabatene playing a different match.
And there you can see Little Baka's forehand. She drove the ball with topspin, which Jalin could not block. Jalin attacks the ball, but it hits the net and goes out. The game is still a bit slow, but I'm sure it'll get momentum as it goes along, as the players read each other's game. And Little Baka's services seem to be simple ones and long, so we expect Jalin to attack those services. And again, you see Little Baka's forehand. Topspin drive, well placed to the middle of, towards the body of Jalin. And again, now we're seeing Jalin unleashing her backhand.
So they need to dry their hands as we see Little Baka get on serve. She's 7-5 down. She gets the point. It's now 7-6. Again, she's got the serve, the 14th point of this game. And that is a point to Jalin of Mauritius. Little Baka from Cote d'Ivoire. Not able to get that back, and the spin was there, and the ball just ricocheted off the bat.
Oh, yes. And there's something I've noticed with Little Baka. Her forehand drives are rather slow, maybe full of spin, but they are a bit slow, giving Jalin time to parry them back and to block.
Jalin leading 9-6. She's the receiver. And that is a point to Little Baka. 10-7 it is now. Jalin can take this game, but she loses out. It's 10-8.
2-point difference. Jalim is, we used to call it a psychological game. We're playing psychological game, going to wipe her hands as often as possible, slowing down the other player.
Jalim serving for the game, and she takes it 11-8 in this 9th place semi-final at the ITTF. It's 2018 championship. Whew. It's not even 2016 in Ethiopia, I mean, yet. But they've got a different calendar, almost 6, 7 years behind everyone. But yes, Little Baka losing that first game. Advantage, Jalim.
What did you make of the game? I thought it was a bit slow.
Yes, the intensity isn't there for the players, but they really want the placings, especially for the players. And if you look, and just looking at some of the intensity we've seen, is that the players who have got a next championship, which is the Commonwealth Games, they tend to have a little bit more of the intensity, trying to use every game as a build-up to the next.
Oh, yes.
Because they know they've got a championship, playing against the best in the world, and that's 6 weeks from now. You'd be talking about Egypt, you'd be talking about Nigeria, Cameroon, incidentally, in as much as they're predominantly Francophone, they're part of the Commonwealth.
Yes.
Talking about the Ghanaians, think of the Kenyans too, the South Africans, Botswana. That's the way it is.
Yes.
Second game on, Jalim starts with the serve and draws first blood. That goes way beyond the table, and they're tied at 1-all.
And now I'm seeing both players resorting to backspin. They're trying to limit each other's attack.
The fourth ball from, actually fifth ball coming in from Little Baka in that rally. Not landing on Jalim's court.
That was a good rally. Unfortunately, Jalim put it in the net.
Jalim serving, and she loses out, and they are now at 3-2. Jalim, who's on serve, leading.
And again, we see Jalim serving to the center of the table, along the center line. It seems that is her preferred service, with actually no variation. The only variation coming in the spins, either bringing a chop, which is a backspin, or topspin.
Another point going the way of Jalim. She's leading 4-3. It's a 1-point game. We saw Little Baka try to close the gap, bringing it from 4-2 in the first game, but now it's tied at 4-all. A little bit of aggression coming in from Jalim, but a little bit of where the accuracy is, how to respond to that spinning ball.
Sometimes she overplays the ball.
A leg serve has been called.
And again, the ball goes out from her backhand.
Well, at this stage, we're going to see all the calls being made at the match is being played at 5 sets. But later in the session, we're going to see the games being played over 7 sets. That's at the championship level.
Yes. Calling for stamina, calling for strength, calling even for extreme concentration. Seven games, best of 7 is not it's not an easy game to play.
Well, a change of that backspin and then going for the drive. And an advantage to Little Baka, leading this game 8-5. Drops that one, it's now 8-6.
You can see the error from her backhand.
Another error by Jalim. It's 9-6 to Little Baka. She's on serve. Loses a point, 9-7, a 2-point game again.
And then looking at their styles also, Jalim is very mobile along her edge of the table. She moves from one end to the other, while Little Baka is almost stationary. Whenever she's taking any ball which is coming towards her body, instead of moving and taking that ball, she's actually just sort of like turning her body.
And that is the second game that is done. And Amadine Little Baka from Cote d'Ivoire takes that game 11-7, and they're tied at 1-all. Ndishwari Jalim from Mauritius took the first one, 11-8, and they take another 2-minute break. What really changed in Little Baka's game at Daniel?
She started out very well, and midway through the game, she actually took the lead. But then somewhere along the line, it's like she lost concentration, or Jalim found out what she was doing wrong. And you could also see by the forehand drives that Jalim was giving. Jalim is almost like an all-out offensive player. And the goodness with offense, once you get it in, you'll definitely go right.
So they're tied at 1-all. They're two. We can see, I mean, the Mauritius corner, they're still having a conversation, a little bit of the shake of hands, and also a change of ends. Jalim having to pick up, but she had actually crossed that line and forgotten about the plot.
I'm sure right now they have sized each other up. Let's see what this game has in store for us. Actually, you can see by the pace it's picked up.
The pace has picked up, yes. Third game.
Jalim tries a forehand flip across the table, but doesn't work out. It hits the net instead.
At least 2 more games to be played in this match, including this one. And that is another point lost by Jalim. They're tied at 1 game apiece. The winner of this match going to play in the 9th place final, and that will be later this evening. The match is scheduled to be played at 1500 hours GMT.
And there we could see them chopping the ball using backspin. I think they're trying to limit it attack.
And that's a point going to Jalim. The moment the ball touched the net, it took Little Baka a little bit off balance, and she just couldn't recover in time as Jalim attacked Little Baka's right-hand corner.
Remember, I talked about Little Baka's movement. It seems to be like very limited, and I think that was one of the causes that she could not reach the ball in time.
The agility of this player being put to the test, and this is a better rally, and they are playing much quicker.
Oh,
what
fantastic!
A shot coming in
that was a
from
fantastic shot. That was the longest rally they've had so far, and you've seen both forehands and the backhand being exhibited here. And the final, the final shot in that rally was the best I've seen so far.
Another point for Little Baka, 6-3. She is up, bringing this indoor arena alive. And a timeout has been called. Jalim's corner not happy with what has been going on. So time for them to relax. A 1-minute timeout called. And just looking at the body language of the coach, what is Coach Rollo? What would he be saying?
It seems like he's talking to her about her backhand. To start her attack with her backhand. The Little Baka has been forcing her to use backspin on her backhand, but now it seems like the coach is telling her, when the backspin comes, lift it up with a simple drive, and then from there, take your game on.
So they are at 6-3. Well, they didn't take the full minute that's allocated for that timeout. Jalim, who actually called for it, just took just about 30 seconds. And she gets 1 point on the resumption of play.
Little Baka actually lifted that ball with, she was half-hearted. I think that's why it went to the net.
Again, another point for Jalim.
Again, that forehand from Little Baka going down the line. And it's fast. It's quite fast.
Quick movement of the arms. You actually have got to keep rise on her. Gets another point. She is now 8-5 up in the third. Oh, she must have kept her eyes off the ball, because
Yes.
it just went and hit that lower edge of the table, giving Jalim much needed point. 9-6 it is now.
And we've seen both players having a good third ball attack. So, you can see that is what the coach is telling her. Third ball attack on your backhand. Always keep on trying.
Little Baka serving for the game. Well, she drops that point, 10-7. She still has a chance to serve for the game.
Interesting play.
Interesting. Yes, that's another good rally that we've had with, the speed changing slightly and
Yes.
the two players moving away from the table, playing just some distance off. It's now 10-8. Oh, 10-9.
Jalim is catching up. She has got 3 points so far.
Yes, 3 consecutive points.
And she is serving, so it's her advantage.
And they're now at deuce. 10-all. 1 serve for each player. The point goes the way of Little Baka, and she's got the advantage. And the game goes the way of Ahmadine Little Baka. She takes that game 12-10. She's now leading by 2 games to 1. The backhand again.
Is that backhand? What do you think happened when Jalim started catching up? The scores was it 10-7?
It was 10. It was at 10-6.
10-6.
She took 3 straight points, and she actually forced the deuce.
Yes.
But it was the backhand returns. Not able to respond to the spin. She still has got her, but this was that point. No, and you could see she realized, well, that didn't go well. Walking away, and it's almost, I mean, what did I say? Almost by instinct, leaving the bat on the table.
The game has been picking up pace. Let's see how. I think they've already learned each other's game, and they are actually opening up their games.
It is the 4th game of this 9th place semi-final.
First blood to Jalim. And again, we see Little Baka's sometimes half-handed attempt at the ball, which cost her.
Well, that went way past the table, and Jalin is 3-0 up. Not 2-1. It's 3-0 up at the moment.
3-0.
Well, apologies for the graphics on the screen. So, and finally, Little Baka gets her first point in this game. Well, the rally was coming, but again, that backhand return from Jalim, letting her down.
Yes. And I think it's what the coach was talking to her about.
Oh, that was a
forehand.
It was a forehand return.
You can see she's trying what the coach was telling her. The coach was telling her to lift the ball with the backhand and continue the rallies and stop using backspin all the time. And you can see it's actually paid dividends. Wow, lovely service. Must have been a topspin. That had a backspin. You could see the way Jalim tried to lift the ball, but yet it went to the net. So it means Little Baka has got a good variety of services.
That goes off the net, and Little Baka gets the lead. She was 3-0 down at the start of this game, but she's now taken the lead. That is a lead serve, has to be repeated. And she draws level. They're now at 5-all. It's a 4th game in a best-of-5 contest. It's a semi-final. The ITTF Continental Cup Africa. Well, she looks like Little Baka lost concentration there, and the ball just rolled up her body.
She's actually been making some small errors which are uncalled for. And remember, as you said before, this game needs a lot of concentration. A small break in concentration, you'll find yourself making a lot of mistakes and the other player running away from you.
Another point going the way of Jalin. She's 8-5 up.
Lovely forehand.
Well, she's got that short serve that the return from Little Baka really got her surprised.
Yes.
Total change of pace
I
from
think
slow to fast.
She expected Little Baka would chop the ball back to her, give her backspin, but instead Little Baka flicked the ball, catching her off guard. I think it's a let.
It's a let, yes. (9-7) to Jalim. Little Baka coming into this tournament as the 12th seed. And she gets another point. And for Jalim, she came into the tournament as the 13th seed.
So they're not so far off each other.
Evenly matched so far.
Yes.
And 10-8 to Jalim. The only thing is, the one that really, you would say they evenly match, but what really speaks out is the scorecard.
Yes.
The seedings really did matter on Wednesday evening, but yesterday they had to be thrown out the window. It was your performance on the table that mattered.
That is true.
And Jalin takes that 11-8, and we're going to go into a deciding 5th game. Jalin taking the first 11-8, losing the second 7-11. Little Baka taking the third 10-12, and Jalin taking the fourth 11-8. Moving into a decisive 5th game, as each corner now knowing that the next game will decide not only how much money you take home,
yes.
but being an ITTF World Cup qualifier in that, what it means for you as a player. How many points do you get out of this?
Oh, yes.
Where will you find yourself on the international rankings on Monday?
Yes. That past game, we saw Little Baka's concentration waning a bit. She became uncertain on how she was actually taking her balls. That decisiveness was missing, and that's why Jalim caught up and took the game.
This is the first of 8 matches we'll be broadcasting this afternoon into the evening in Kenya. As we get into the 5th and deciding set or game of this 9th place semi-final in the women's singles at the ITTF Continental Cup Africa. It's the diminutive Nandishwari Jalin from Mauritius against Amadine Litobaka from Cote d'Ivoire.
And in this game, we were seeing Jalim actually using both her wings now very well. Like she had been told by her coach to start with the backhand, and she's taking it so well and finishing with her forehand.
Jalim is on serve. Loses that out. It's now 2-all. Well, at the end of the 7th game, they've got to switch ends.
Yes. And they do that so that nobody gets an advantage from any side.
Well, with the balance lighting and indoors, you really wouldn't know unless
you're there playing.
Unless you're there playing. Jalim leading 4-2.
2-point difference now. Oh, just missed the table.
She just missed that. 5-2. And a timeout has been called by Little Baka's corner. Well, the first timeout we had was 3 games, was in the 2nd game, and Jalim at that point actually thought this game is gone, but it changed everything. She lost the game, but her recovery over the next 2 has changed everything, and that's why we've got 5 to decide this one.
Yes.
And also looking at the other matches being played, we also have got a 5-setter. It's somewhere cross court, and it's between Katia Kishasi and Abir Haj Salah, an Algerian against a Tunisian, and also in the 9th place semi-final. But back to our commentary game, and that ball, the response from Little Baka, not good enough, and the ball spiraled off the net, off the table.
Good backhand from Little Baka, which ends at that point. And there again we see the backspin. But this time, Jalim takes it well, and a top spin drive catches Little Baka unprepared.
That's a let salve, has to be repeated. And Jalin is leading 8-3. Little Baka trying to take a look at the table and wonder what's going on. It's a chance to serve. And she does win the point, 8-4.
Does it seem like the game is running away from Little Baka?
You never know with table tennis. It just takes one error. It takes a few brilliant serves. I mean, you've got 2 chances with the ball.
You see, now she's doing what she's supposed to have been doing all along in this game. It is crucial to start attacking a ball before your opponent starts attacking. That is the best way to get points.
9-5 now to Jalim. There was a let. Yes, it's been called as the rally was on. And
Beautiful.
it's now 10-5.
That was a beautiful forehand topspin drive from Jalim. And Little Baka could do nothing much with it except throw the ball out.
How much thought has been put into that serve?
A lot of thought.
And that is the match, and it's been taken by Nandeshwari Jalim of Mauritius. 11-8, 7-11, 10-12, 11-8, 11-5, and she will be playing in the 9th place final. Her opponent, she's yet to find out. As you can see, Nandeshwari Jalim from Mauritius with the coach Orolo, who's been keeping tabs on the Mauritius players throughout the tournament. And for Little Baka, it means she's going to be playing much later in the, she's going to be playing in the evening, and this is for 11th position at 7:20. At 6:40 p.m. East African time. That is 15:40 hours GMT. As you see the score from that game: 11-8, 7-11, 10-12, 11-8, 11-5 in favor of Jalim, who's on your screen. A position, an opportunity to finish 9th at this championship is open for her. Well, you'd have to say Jalim. I mean, look, just a simple look at her score cards. She lost in straight sets in one game, but she played 2 5-setters, lost 2-3 in one, and won the other 3-2. You'd have to feel for her. She probably would be playing at the quarterfinals, should be playing the 7-game encounters later today.
But something is in favor. Something favors her very much is her age. She's still quite young, and she has a lot to learn. And also, she plays her game with a lot of vigor. She has passion for the game. And so, we are waiting for the next game to end so that you can know who Jalim's opponent will be between Haj Salah and Kesasi Katia.
So, a replay of that game, and you could see some of the, movements that everyone has been talking about when it comes to Little Baka. Not able to switch ends around her table.
Yes, but she's a bit slow on her feet, and also her movement, her body movement, even in the language itself, shows of somebody who's not quick to move. Whereas Jalim, on the other hand, was very agile, very spry on the table.
So there you have it, and waiting for one match to be decided. And just taking a look at, at the competition here in the women's group, Abir Haj Salah and Katia Kisasi of Algeria, they're tied at 2-2, and that's, at the court just behind a cameraman that you can't see there, and it's all to look for that position 9 playoff. Otherwise, you play for 11th and 12th. It's not where anyone would want to be at such a championship. And the winner of that game will be playing against Nandeshwari Jalim. These are two players who felt like they saw everything implode at the group stages.
Yes. Especially, I can actually sympathize with Kisasi when she played Bristol.
Yes. And looking at our information system, well, that has gone 3-2 in favor of Kisasi. So she's going to be playing against Nandeshwari Jalim, and that is this evening, and this is to decide who finishes 9th in the women's singles.
That will be a very interesting game because they're both fast players, they're both attacking players. So what will be called into play is actually somebody's defensive skills, because they are both attacking players. So we would need to know who defends better against the other.
So lined up next are the positional playoffs for the lower half of the men. This is for positions 9. These are the 9th place semi-finals, and this is going to be between Kurt Lingerveld of South Africa and Aissa Belkadi of Algeria. The other one is between Shane Overmeyer and Brian Chanfoyuk of Mauritius. That's going to be on table 2. But the focus is going to be on this table 1 match. Kurt Lingerveld are making it to this level after defeating Kenya's Brian Mutua in straight games of 11-7, 11-9, and 11-4, while Aissa Belkadi defeated Alan Onaklub of Mauritius 11-8, 11-7, 11-6.
This is the Lotto Foundation update.
This month on Lotto Foundation, we sponsored the Cross Country Championship to help athletes to reach their potential.
Basi timu ya kwanza ilikuwa National Police, timu ya pili ya majeshi na timu ya tatu Magereza. Wapigeni makofi jamani. Defending champion National Police Service. Wapigeni makofi. Watu makofi ya police.
Together, we are changing lives. Thanks a million.
Stay tuned for more updates from the Lotto Foundation. This is the Lotto Foundation update.
Last month on Lotto Foundation, we sponsored the annual Sawyer Awards, which rewards
He has a good backhand and a good forehand. And remember the forehand drives, for top spin drives that he was giving out against Mutua. They were very fast, especially the ones down the line from his forehand to Mutua's backhand. I know we shall have a good match, an exciting match. And now the main thing would be how to limit Kat from taking those balls. So the onus is on Belkadi.
So there they are as They make their way to table number 1, which has been the focus of all our commentary matches over the last 2 days. This is the second of the 8 matches that we've got this. And so the players were there being represented. We've got Kurt Lingerveld being introduced. He's on the left of your picture, and Isa Belkadi is on the right of your picture.
My number is and Sugel Mohammed from Djibouti. On table number 2, representing the Republic of South Africa, Shane Oberman.
So there is Isa Belkadi. No, actually, that's Isa Belkadi. He hasn't won yet. We haven't seen a walkover coming in from Lingerveld.
On table number 3, representing Kenya,
and talking about the Algerians, there's a man we should be looking for. He was a permanent fixture everywhere, as we see there. Ed Sid is now playing for position for a 9th place final. Kurt Lingerveld of South Africa.
Yeah.
Look, where is Coach Mustafa?
Sultan Rodri. And representing Cameroon, No Pom Derek. Jared Odembo from Kenya and Agnes Masanake from Kenya.
So, well, that was the stadium announcer, but looking at this too, we've got Mr. Mohammed, he's from Djibouti, and so they've already selected their ends. That is Belkadi, who picked to us and decided that he's going to play from the 4 corner. So a little bit of warm-up. And looking at Lingerveld, who came in as the 8th seed, Isa Belkadi, 13th seed, but all making through to this phase without dropping a game in the morning session. Already as they warm up, anything that you can pick up, Daniel?
They're both very good players. They are very controlled players. Looking at the kind of games they play, there's one thing to note: Belkadi plays close to the table. Lingerveld moves far from the table. Sometimes he comes back near, but sometimes he goes away from the table, depending on how the ball comes to him and how he wants to loop the ball, how he wants to drive the ball forward. So I would say Lingerveld has got a fight on his hands, because even Belkadi is good on both wings, especially his backhand. And sometimes he takes the ball almost immediately at off its bounce, giving him an advantage, giving the other player a shorter time to react to the ball. So let's see what goes on.
So an Algerian against a South African. You can see the green jersey and that short. Well, South Africa, it's easy to tell just from his uniform. You would easily associate these colors with the cricket in the Proteas. Easy to tell.
Yes.
And so the warm-up is done. Mr. Mohammed, the chair umpire from Djibouti, takes a look at his ball, and getting this game going is going to be Belkadi. And the first point going the way of Belkadi. Oh yes, there's a good friend, Mr. Mustafa. That has been his favorite quarter throughout.
Our coach of the day yesterday.
And again, Belkadi winning second point.
You could see that forehand drive, very fast. Again, look at the backhand, almost off the table, giving the opponent a little chance to react.
backhand return from Belkadi, letting him down. Again, trying to go for another drive, and from 2 love up, he's 3-2 down. He's on serve. Belkadi, the Algerian.
In this kind of game, any mistakes are always costly, because at this level, you have very, very few mistakes. So whoever makes unforced errors is going to have a very bad disadvantage. Again, another mistake from Belkadi.
He had the face of that bad foot. He was not able to turn, make a little turn, and first up from Lingerveld, and they're tied at 4-all.
For another error, after starting off with such a beautiful low, beautiful loop, a control loop, and then he puts the ball in the net. Wow. Good service from Belkadi. Lingerveld completely misread that service.
Lingerveld with the next 2 serves. And no, just looking at the flight of that ball, he really wanted to go for that corner. We saw him in his earlier game against Kutu. He was going for that, you know, for his opponent's right corner.
Yes.
And that edge, is something that, you know, some moves that would be very difficult to anticipate as an opponent.
Yes.
Belkadi 8-4 in the first.
In the morning session, Lingerveld, when he's playing against Mutua, we could see him giving very fast loops, flashing loops. But it seems like this time Belkadi is not giving him much chance to unleash those loops.
Well, 9-5. Lingerveld on serve, and he loses that point. Belkadi is on 10.
And then look at the movement of both players. Fantastic movement. They move with the ball, and they anticipate the ball very well. So you can see all their strokes are fully taken. There are no half strokes, there are no uncertain strokes. So it goes to show the training regimen both men have put in.
Of Belkadi to serve for the game. And he does take it, 11-6. Well, look at that serve. The toss went something like 3 feet high.
Yes.
Took quite some time to come back to the level of the table, and somehow Lingerveld didn't respond to it.
Yes. And it seems Lingerveld has a problem with Belkadi's services because he has actually lost 3 straight serves. There we see it again. Belkadi is using a very good variation of top spin serves and back spin serves with maybe a bit of side spin in them.
Well, interesting to know that Lingerveld and his teammate Shane Overmyer have been, you know, acting as each other's corner persons, but this time around Lingerveld was at the corner and he was speaking to his chair. You wonder what's going through his mind.
Frustration. Oh, costly mistake.
They're at 1-all. So a point to Lingerveld. Belkadi on serve.
That was a good rally. Mistake by Lingeveld.
Wins the point, goes 3-2 up. And he gets the points from his 2 serves. A change of pace in that second serve. The variation catching Belkadi off guard. He probably expected one that was going at pace.
And look at where Belkadi is serving from. We have not seen another player doing the same thing. He's caught Lingeveld off guard completely. And again, we see Belkadi's serve. Beautiful rally.
And eventually, Belkadi's return.
And look at the way the players are moving all around the table. Very good movement.
Well, making full use of that the end lines that they've been given, and 6-4 up Belkadi on serve.
And that flashing forehand again from Lingeveld.
Well, Belkadi twice has tried to make a return on it,
But
and every time it's not gone to where he wanted it. Wow.
Oh, he's wasted a serve. But you can see also the tension in both players because they know what is at stake.
Lingeveld is 9-4 up.
Beautiful backhand. We have not seen much of it in this match, but now it has come up.
10-4 it is. Belkadi serving. Wins that point. Then he loses out on the next serve, and Lingeveld levels this time. 11-5, he takes the second game, and they're at 1-all.
We have seen the pace picking up, the game becoming faster, and also the rallies a bit longer. And we have seen both players using backhand and forehand, especially Lingeveld. He's got a very fast backhand, which he showed just now. And as I said earlier, actually the defense is what is going to matter, what is going to count, because both players are very good with the attack. So the person who has the better defense is what is going to count.
So on to the third game of this encounter. And first to serve is going to be Belkadi.
Oh, that was a half-hearted attempt at the ball. And it landed in the net. Good serve again. Remember, in the past game, Lingeveld threw 3 straight serves into the net. And whoa.
Well, that was a time you could tell what he wanted to do.
Yes.
But he didn't fully read the spin on that ball. Yes. So the moment he came off his bat, kept turning and turning and turning. Yes. And Belkadi was way off the center of that.
Wow.
Again,
Again.
the turn on the ball.
But that was a good rally nevertheless. Just a small miss in direction. Wow.
3-2 it is.
Remember what you talked about earlier? When the game gets hot, Lingerville moves a bit far from the table. You can see it happening now. Whereas Belkadi remains near the table.
Well, if you're hearing the claps on your broadcast, then at one end, there is Brian Mutura of Kenya, who's playing in the 13th to 16th place semi-final. So there's a crowd there that's keeping up with him and making the cheers loud. But on our commentary match, it's 3-all. Belkadi against Lingerville.
Wow. That was a good placing. Belkadi couldn't reach it.
Lingerveld on serve, 4-3 up.
Flashing forehand drive, but unfortunately it did not land on the table. Indecision again has cost him that ball.
And 2 points to Belkadi from his serves. Well, his coach has felt the pressure of handling this tournament.
And again, Lingerveld hits the ball out. Is it? It seems like he's not actually anticipating the ball well enough. Oh! How can he miss? Good rally and then he misses the ball.
Well, he took too long. He probably didn't correctly read the speed of that ball.
Yes.
And its motion. Because the moment it hit the table, it looked like it was coming through the center, but it had a slight turn.
So either he needs to look at the ball much more carefully, or he needs to adjust his speed.
And Belkadi right now is 9-4 up in the third game of this 9th place semi-final. He's on serve.
And then we have seen a weakness in Lingerveld's service reception.
Yeah.
He has just lost 2 services just now.
And that is a game to Belkadi. 11-4. He leads 2-1 in this 9th place semi-final. And, well, you'll be thinking that, just before we get back to him, that is Lingerveld of South Africa. If you just look at him, I mean, you'd think he's having a conversation with someone. He's having a meeting with himself. You know, Lingerveld, listen, yes, I'm listening.
There we see him talking to himself. He's advising himself. You could see the hesitation in the way he wanted to change the direction, but unfortunately he did it half-heartedly and the ball did go over the net.
So, as Coach Mustafa, Balasin Mustafa.
And actually, by the way, this is how you see a coach is very important to a player. You see, the coach has been telling Belkadi all the weaknesses that that his opponent has, but his opponent has got nobody to tell him. So you can actually see the way the game is going south for Lingerveld. That was a good drive.
And Lingerveld gets the first point. Maybe his soliloquy is working for him.
Just touch the edge, huh?
Yes, he's touched the edge. Well, he made the call and umpire Mohammed agreed with him. A let serve. Well, it's been called as a let, so Belkadi has to return that. Hit that. 3 points dropped.
And this time we are seeing Belkadi making errors, huh? And the ball goes out.
Well, you can see he's looked at his corner and asked what exactly is going on. He's 4 points down in the fourth game. And he's leading 2 games to 1. Lingaveld can push this to the edge.
Yes. Let's see how he plays this game.
And he gets the first point. And looks like Lingaveld lost concentration because the way his arm was stretched, it's like he was simply trying to, you know, stop it.
Yes.
Almost like a goalkeeper's motion trying to parry the ball away. 5-1.
Things are hotting up a bit more. You can see by the rallies that they're playing. They're both attacking players, but most of the attacks this time are coming from Belkadi. And as we said before, it is somebody's defense, somebody blocking capacity which is going to determine the game, because both players are good at attack.
Oh, that was Belkadi tried the best he could to recover from that one. And I'm trying to wonder, where was Lingaveld? He had moved close to the table. He had anticipated it, but he is happy with it.
Yes.
6-2 up in the fourth. And another drive that went, you know, it just developed scalar quantities, so to speak.
And Lingaveld is actually smiling.
He's happy with it.
Yes. Yeah. And again, Belkadi throws the ball out.
8-2 it is. And a point goes the way of Belkadi. They are at 8-3 now. Lingaveld not happy. Wow, he's happy that, I mean, he had anticipated it, but looked at the motion and was waiting to strike again if it went off the table. 9-3. A chance for him to tie the game and force a fifth set.
And again, Belkadi has, his drive has gone out on almost exactly the same place out of the table. That is the second one. So there's something actually he's aiming at. But unfortunately, he's off a bit.
10-4 it is. We're going to have a change of serve. Belkadi is 4. He's on 4 points. Lingaveld is on 10. A 6-point game. And again, a point there. That's once one. He's still 5 behind. And another one.
Those 5 points may be many, but they usually eaten away slowly by slowly until you find deuce. Again, see?
Again. It's now a 3-point game. And Lingaveld has to compose himself because he knows he could be serving for this game.
Yes. Let's service.
Oh, 10-8. So he's dropped those 2 serves, and from a 6-point game, we now have a 2-point game. Lingaveld leading Belkadi 10-8 in the 4th game of this 9th place semi-final.
And Belkadi has the advantage because he's serving now.
Oh, 10-9. It's a 1-point game.
And that is a problem with table tennis. When you lose concentration just a bit, things happen. And like now we're seeing them happening to Lingaveld.
Lingaveld actually having to call for pause on it.
Oh!
And he just dropped that when he was about to pull the deuce. Belkadi, you could see the reaction in him. He just looks up for some form of inspiration. And that means Lingaveld has taken that 11-9, and they're tied at 2-all. We're going into a decisive 5th. And again, that meeting with himself continues. Well, Coach Mustafa has got a few words for Belkadi. But you've got to give it to Belkadi. From 10-4 to 10-9, he probably thought he would have forced it, and should Belkadi have taken that game, we'll probably have seen the end of the match.
Yes. There's something I've seen about Belkadi. He's very tenacious. He doesn't lose hope. He does not get discouraged. You know, some players, when the opponent goes ahead with 3-4 points, they actually lose hope. But Belkadi has tenacity.
And so we are now getting into the 5th game of this match. It's a 9th place semi-final. It's Kurt Lingaveld against Isa Belkadi. Kurt Lingaveld from South Africa. He's the man with the 2 number. Wait a minute. 208. The men's numbers start with 1. What's he doing with the women's numbers here?
And remember, in the other match, he had 216.
And he had 216. Where did he take his beep? He probably gave it to somebody as a souvenir.
That is the forehand you were talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
And Lingaveld is 2 love up in the game. He goes 3 up.
And you can see in his game, he's come with a renewed vigor, with more fire than he had before. I think he has told himself, it's either make it or make it.
And a timeout has been called by Belkadi after he lost 3 straight points in this decisive set. Well, actually, he actually made the call to the umpire straight with the bat to his palm. He needs to get some little bit of composure.
That shows an experienced player, because when you start losing points quickly, it's good to take a break, slow down the other player, and at the same time, you collect your thoughts and collect your feelings. I'm sure you'll see a change in the game now.
On serve is Lingaveld as we resume from that. He's trying to make a call that he touched the table, but the umpire, Mr. Mohammed from Djibouti, made the call that, well, it did not touch the table.
It was a very fast service and caught Belkadi by surprise.
Wow! And what a drive coming in from Lingaveld, and he is now 5 up in this game.
That is a drive that has been missing all along. But you can see it in action now in this game, in this 5th game.
And Belkadi loses another one. He's 6 down.
Whatever Lingaveld told himself must really be working, eh?
Well, that conversation he had with himself is working strongly for him. And after this point, we should see a change of court by the players. 7th point of the game.
I think they've already changed.
And have they changed? Well,
yeah, they have changed.
Yes,
yeah.
they have changed.
They have changed. Yeah.
They have changed. Yes, they changed after
5.
Lingerville got to 5. Lingerville on serve at the far end.
Wow, that was a deep backspin. Very heavy. The ball went straight down into the net.
Come on, boy. One at a time, boy. One at a time.
Well, let's have. Looks like Lingerveld was not ready for it. And a point going to Belkadi. He still has got the serve. Loses it out, and there's a sense of desperation in him.
Yes.
He's looking for that shot that's got so much power, but it's
eluding him.
It's eluding him, and the accuracy. And there is another one, 9. 9 point to Lingerville.
Again, he loses a service. It was actually a backspin.
And there is the game, and it is also the match. Lingerveld with a very clever return, just went over the net and span away, and he wins that game 11-2 over Aissa Belkadi of Algeria. So how does this one end? 6-11, 11-5, 4-11, 11-9, 11-2. Kurt Lingerveld of South Africa winning that, and he now goes to play in the 9th place playoff. And that match is going to be played at 7:20 p.m. East African time. That's about 16:20 hours GMT. It's going to be our final commentary match of the day. There's the score card over 5 sets: 6-11, 11-5, 4-11, 11-9, 11-2. And next, we're going to be having the matches that, how would you say, separate the girls from the girls, as we see a replay of them. The girls from the big girls, or from the main girls. Because we've got the quarterfinals and are scheduled for 3:20 p.m. That's 12:20 hours GMT. We've got Ofiyong Edem of Nigeria, who's going to be playing against Safa Saidani of Tunisia. Then in the other, then after that, we shall have Linda Lograibi of Algeria playing against Farah Abdelaziz of Egypt. And those are 2 women's singles quarterfinals. Those are the ones that will be coming up next. As we still take a look at the fixtures of that game, as we see the empty court as the women are lined up for the quarterfinals. And at this point, the match will change. It's going to be over 7 games. And all players know there is a place in London at the World Cup later this year for just one of them, and $25,000 in cash. So we will be back with the women's singles.
This is the Lotto Foundation update.
Last month on Lotto Foundation, we sponsored the annual Sawyer Awards, which rewards the country's most exceptional sportspersons.
Allow me just to acknowledge and thank our partners for their huge support towards making this event possible.
But tonight I want to prove to you as I stand here, disability is not an ability. The way athletes train together, live together like brothers and sisters. Let all Kenyans live the same way.
Together, we are changing lives. Thanks a million.
Stay tuned for more updates from the Lotto Foundation.
So we are back and we are waiting for the entry of the women. 2 women's quarterfinals to be played at this point and another 2 to follow. We're going to have quarterfinal 1. It's going to be between Fiong Edem of Nigeria and Safar Saidana of Tunisia. That's going to be our commentary match. And then the other one that will be running concurrently is Dina Mishref of Egypt against Christy Bristol of the Seychelles. So those matches will be played concurrently as we see Adem Effiong from Nigeria in green and Sainis and Safar Saidani of Tunisia make their way to table number 1. How did they make it to this stage? Offiong Edem won 2 matches and lost 1, finishing second in Group 4. She lost 2 games to 3 against Linda Lograibi of Algeria. She lost 11, 8-11, 7-11, 11-4, 11-9, 10-12. Then won against Abir Haj Salah of Tunisia in straight sets of 11-9, 11-3 and 11-5, and winning against Nandeshwari Jalim in straight ones of 11-7, 11-8 and 11-6. Her opponent is Safar Saidani of Egypt, who topped Group 3, and she won all her matches, just dropping 1 single game. Safar Saidani winning against Ahmadine Litobaka 11-3, 11-6, 11-5 and 11-6, 11-4, 11-7 against Musfiq Kalam of the Republic of South Africa. So those are results that got them there. The top woman in Group 3 against the second place woman in Group 4. Bello Nasiro is the coach of Nigeria. He's the man who's going to be at Edem's corner, and the man who is going to be handling the Tunisian side. You could see the man who's going to be in charge of Saidani is Hashim Abid.
Thank you.
So the two players move to the table. They've got their towels. There is Hashim Abid, the tactician of Hashmi Abid, the tactician of the Tunisian team. We saw Idem in action in one of the commentary matches yesterday.
Thank you. Last 2 minutes.
And she's had, you know, all day to rest. What you take on her, and how do you expect Safa Saidani, who's seeded 6th but topped Group 3, while for Group 4 of Young Idem, who's seeded 4th, finished second in her group. At this point, how much pressure does a sportsman have, and how would you take it from these two, seed number 4 and seed number 6?
First of all, we have a difference in games. Edem doesn't move that much, while Saidani moves along the table. She goes for balls, she runs after them. And this will come into play, especially during the tense moments. And also, like now, one is seed 4, the other one is seed 6. Usually, the higher seed has more pressure than the lower seed, because she has to prove her seeding, and the person of the the opponent in the lower seed has to try and upset her. So we are going to see a lot of factors come into play as the game continues, and also the difference in style. They are both attacking players, but the one who's normally stationary, and that is Edem, should be having a better defense game, a better blocking.
So we've seen the signal from the umpire that the match should now start, and Edem serves first. First point going to Saidan. Another point to Saidani. 4 to win, 4 games to win. So this is not going to be one for a faint heart.
Yes.
Alex serve is called.
There was a heavy backspin on the ball from Edem, and Saidani put the ball in the net. You can see the way Saidani moves for the ball. She's very quick, she's very agile, she's very fast, whereas Edem seems to be slow on the reach. You can even see the way she didn't get that ball.
Whoa. That drive coming in from a woman who's got butterfly on her jersey. It
Not
went flying. I mean,
not in her stomach.
So what's the score here? 4-2 with Saidan on serve. Well, that landed on Idem's court fast, but you could see her intention, trying to go for that quick flick of the shots.
Yes.
Well, that was more like a volley that went the wrong way. 6-2 up, Saidan.
And you can see the change in pace in the middle of the game, from backspins to a quick drive. That was a backspin serve which Saidani misread. Again, another one. It's uncommon for players of such a class to make the same mistake twice from the same type of serve.
Well, one was from a backhand movement
from the
forehand movement, but still not responding. 6-5 it is. 3 points in a row for Idem.
And you could see Saidani was actually struggling with that shot because she was stretching and not moving.
And a point going the way of Saidan. 7-5 it is. Idem on serve. The third ball not going her way.
Yes.
And she doesn't have that high toss from some of the players. Just going just above them. Legal minimum for any serve.
I don't know. It depends on player to player. There's some who don't even toss the ball very high, but they have very effective services. So it depends on what you do with your wrist. Your wrist is actually the most important factor as you serve the ball.
10-5 it is. And serving for the game is Saidani.
Oh.
And that goes her way. She takes the first game 11-5.
And that was a very quick game, huh? It ended quite fast. And there you can see the coaches giving advice. You wonder what they're saying. But it seems the Tunisian coach is talking about using a backhand.
That is the replay from that. Hashmi a bid.
And he's also talking about the services that Saidani has been given at them. It's like he's telling her, she's giving you top spin and you're chopping, so the ball is going up. We saw her doing a few of those and raising the ball up for Saidani to attack.
Hashmi a bit happy enough with his chat in between, and we've got Safa Saidani, who's going to get the second game going. She's on serve. And she drops that point. Well, quite a deceptive ball. The change of pace, it's got Idem not concentrating. She had anticipated something different.
Yes.
The moment it touched the nets, everything changed.
Yeah, it changed the pace slightly, which put Idem off.
2-1. And she scores that point again. It's 3-1 to Saidani, who's on serve.
That was a late serve, huh?
Yes, that was a late serve.
3-1.
And that is a point going the way of Idem. And she levels it with that. They are 3-all. And you can, just looking at their faces, you can see the intensity.
Yes.
If you try and move anything in front of their eyes, you probably might get a bat on your face.
And there we see Idem's backhand drive, which she has been hiding all this time. She has rarely used it.
This one is close. It's at 4-all.
Oh, she has lost the service.
It's a let serve.
And you know, when somebody loses a service, it's actually a sign of nervousness. It's a sign of nerves. Because at this level of play, you don't expect somebody to give away a point just like that. Wow, wonderful service. It was quick and full of spin.
And she gets 2 points from her service. She was down early in the game, 3-1 down, and Idem now with that fell return from Saidani. She is 8-4 up in the second game. This will be decided by who gets 4 games first.
Just touch the net. And Edem could not get it back. Again, a very heavy backspin on the ball, which Edem could not take back. It's very odd. She's going with her backhand to her forehand to make a return. You can see that again there.
And she had the face of the bat, you know, almost perpendicular to the table.
Yes.
That's it. That's it, baby. Come on.
That was a very deep and heavy backspin on the ball.
10-6 to Edem. Saidani holds herself. And she misses that out. And they are now tied at 1 game apiece. 11-7 to Ofiong Idem of Nigeria, who's playing against Safa Saidani of Tunisia.
And if you could look at that game again, you'd find that their rallies were very short. And even the forehand drives or backhand drives were very few and fine between. They were mostly playing a defensive sort of game, using backspin chops and trying to place each other.
So we're going to have a minimum of 5 games played so far. The 2 women have the better 1 court, as we see Hashmi Abid trying to get her charge Saidani, going, and that's part of Kenya's table tennis family. So how much can they control over this game?
Yeah, I beg. Come on. From beginning.
The umpire set the score. 1 apiece, one match apiece. The ball touches the net and Edem couldn't take it back. Drives it out from the side of the table. It's now 3-0 to Saidani. That was a heavy backspin on the ball, which Edem could not take back over the net.
Well, you can hear from Saidani. She's quite happy with the way things are going. And she really wants to see that happening. And just looking at the commentator information system, looks like the top seed, Dina Mishrif, is having an easy game against Christy Bristol. So we tend to know one of the semi-finalists. But let's continue with this one. 5-1, Idem finally has a point, and by virtue of it being a 7-game match, she may hold back, but you never know. It's every point that counts.
Yes.
6-1 to Saidani.
Every point counts. Wow.
And that is right on the money. 7-1. Eight 8-1 to Saidani. This is one quick game.
It's as though Edem has lost concentration or something like that. Wow.
And what a drive.
That was a beautiful offensive block.
And you can see, I mean, the almost zero movement from Idem cost her that point. She's 9-1 down. 10-1. Saidani is on serve. She could take this game. Drops the point. It's 2 for Idem. She's 8 down.
There was a heavy backspin also on the ball, which Saidani couldn't take back.
That is a let. And that is game number 3. 11-3. It goes to Tunisia's Safa Saidani. She's now leading 2-1. And this is against Nigeria's Ofiong Idem.
Having a word with the coach. And it seems the coach is telling her to finish completely the game.
And remember, there's still 2 more games to be played before you can declare a winner. This is a 7-game contest happening in the quarterfinals, also happening in the semifinals. Well, take a look at what the photographers have been doing. The still shots, looking for one that would really make a change and appear in the dailies in Kenya tomorrow. So we are on to game number 4.
That's it. Come on, boy. Come on, then. Come on.
The last game was a bit defensive, but now you can see they're both on the offense. The game is picking up speed again.
That's it. That's it.
That was an error by Saidani. She didn't read the ball very well. It had a bit of backspin.
That's it. Sure.
Yeah. 3-1 it is at the moment. And again, in this 4th game, Idem leading 4-1. Well, that was a return that just went short. And 5-1 it is. Idem would feel a little bit of relief. She was at this point in the last game. She really did feel the pressure. Oh, leading 6-1 now. Saidani, not sure of what has happened in this particular game. And yes, she did not expose the ball. That's what the umpire is saying.
Yes.
So she loses the point.
The ball hit the net and went out.
I'm just trying to imagine at which speed that ball was moving.
It was very fast.
Another point going to Idem. She's 7-3 up in the fourth. If she takes this, she'll push this contest to another 2 games, but that not going over the net lands on her court. And she's on serve. Wins her point, 8-4.
Something to note is that Saidani has stopped attacking. She's now more of a defensive player. She's actually chopping the ball, giving the ball backspin, and leaving the job of attack to Idem.
Drops that point. It is now 10-4. And Idem could be serving for the game. That's a lead serve. Oh, trying to go for the drive. A point to Saidani. She still has got 1 more serve. That was looking like a good rally, but they're now all tied at 2-all. Idem taking that game 11-5. Remember, this is a best-of-7 contest. This is a match that's headed the championship way. Offiong, Idem taking the losing the first 5-11, taking the second 11-7. So far side, her opponent took the next 11-3, and Idem has taken it 11-5. So a little bit of conversation between coach and player. Hashmi Abid and Safar Saidani of Tunisia. Adjustments on her hair as we see Offiong Idem with her coach Bello trying to cool things down and keep her there. As it is, they are tied at 2-all, which means that we've got at least 2 more games to play in this best-of-7 contest.
Oh, Idem gave a variation of it. It's actually a different service you haven't seen her giving, and it the return caught her off guard. Lovely backhand, straight down the line, and very fast too. Again, the backhand down the line. With Idem 2 and Saidani at 1.
1-2.
She played that on too cautiously without power, giving the advantage to Saidani. And Saidani made good use of it. It's a good forehand drive.
The exchanges in this game turning out to be so decisive. It's 1 point apiece. Pick one, I'll get the other.
Yes, they're actually moving very, very close.
Saidani on serve. Yeah, that's a drive that Idem has been using, trying to look for the opponent's corner, because the moment the ball slips past that, then even the recovery is difficult.
Yes.
So long as it is within boundaries of the table. And she does win another point. Second time she's done that. You can imagine if you just tried to go for it and suddenly your fingers came into contact with the table.
That was a chop, a deep chop, which she failed to read very well. Oh, the backhand that she has been trusting has not worked this time. She has used it twice before, down the line.
4-6.
Bringing it to 6-5 without failed return. Saidani still has got the serve.
5-6.
And Edem has managed to slow down Saidani. In fact, even Saidani's movement has stalled. She's almost not moving on the table. She's not going for her forehand and her backhand the way she was doing in the first game. So, and it has really given Edem an advantage.
6-4.
Idem on serve. It is the 5th game. She's on serve. She's 6-7 down.
6-7.
That's a rally, and she knew even if it landed on the table, she had Saidani off balance.
That was a good play from Edem. And again, Saidani's serve is too much for Edem. Seems like it was a top spin, which Edem didn't treat very well. Let's service.
They're not reading the spin, and that gets Saidani 9-7 up. The serve with Edem. Wow. And what a third ball.
That was
a third ball.
Yes, that was a lovely forehand drive.
Brings it to 9-8. 10-8 it is. Saidani has got the ball. It's an opportunity for her to serve for this game. 10-9. She still has got a chance to serve for the game. Otherwise, we'll be going to deuce.
She has to get this point. Otherwise, it's going to be deuce.
Oh, it is deuce. One serve apiece from this point on until one of the women goes 2 points ahead. And then with the first serve, she gets the point. She's 11-10 up.
That was a lovely backhand, full of spin, which Saidani did not treat very well, and she could not block the ball into the table.
Saidani on serve, 10-11 down.
Oh,
and what a drive coming in from Idem, and she takes that one, 12-10. She's now 3-2 up in this contest. It just took one motion of her hand. Saidani saw the ball just fly past her, and all she could do was leave the bat on the table.
That service actually was Saidani's mistake. I think maybe she hit it too hard on the table, it rose up, and Edem took the advantage and hit it very, very hard. And it gave her the game. You can see the coaches there giving advice and just trying to exhort the players to play, to win the game.
So that is Coach Bello trying to draw on his charge. That, you know, she's got to take charge of it. She's 3-2 up. If she does win the next game, she's going to be through to the semi-finals, closer to the 25 grand. That is the top prize in this championship. So, change of ends and serving fast in this fifth, or rather sixth game is going to be Safa Saidan. And she picks the first point. Seems to be saying something, probably.
Talking to herself.
Oh, quite some rally and some actions in the block, but eventually Dem's block goal flying off on her court, giving an advantage to Saidan.
Saidani 3, Adam 0. The game has picked pace quite fast.
Then getting her first point.
That forehand flip didn't work out very well and hit the net and went out. There it is again.
4-1.
Trying to go for that drive, but it goes straight to the base of the net. 4-2 to Saidani. Oh, a drive from Adam that Saidan was not able to respond to. 4-3 it is. 8th point of this game.
Good back.
She does have some accuracy with that and levels the scores.
You're seeing the game becoming a bit hotter now, eh?
The pace increasing, and with every point they win, you can tell that they can feel less pressure within them.
And again, Saidani losing a point from her own service.
And a timeout has been called. 5-4 is the score. It's a 1-minute timeout. And Ofi Young and them knows that if she does win this particular game, she's going to be in the semi-finals. But for Saidani, who's 2 games to 3 down, she needs to take this and force a decisive 7th. But at the moment, it looks like the pressure is on her. Adam, you know, she seems to have one demeanor all through.
Yes, she doesn't change. Yeah?
You can't, I mean, you can't see a change of reaction on her face. I mean, she'll just, yes, that's it. You know, and then get back to her business face.
Finish it. Put it T or finish it.
There's the umpire.
Holding on to the ball. The minute is done, back, and on serve is Saidani. 10th point of this game. Well, a let serve has been called. Well, now at 5-all.
Top spin serve by Saidani worked against Adam. But again, she throws the ball out to the backhand.
The backhand return not one for her, and makes a recovery of that. It's 7-6 in this game.
And then showing that service again.
6 odd.
Well, that run was there, but eventually we saw Edem actually exposed herself by moving to her right with that slower ball. But the reaction from Saidani was quick.
Yes.
Not taking any chances, going to the opposite end of Edem's court. And that flies off. Just by the looks of it, you'd think that it landed on Edem's court, but yes, she was very sure it didn't land there. 7-all in the 6th.
Good serve by Adam.
Finally, some reaction coming from Edem. I was asking the umpire, what's wrong with his table?
Stop.
A let's have has been called. Well, just looking at Adam's reaction, that ball came to her by surprise and looked like Saidani thought I had scored with that.
Yes. Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Fantastic shot.
18 points played in this one. Edem has got 10, Saidani has got 8. Edem moving to her corner, she let the ball roll away. She could be serving for the match and a place in the semi-finals.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and she does win it.
And it's done.
4-2. Ophiong Edem, the 4th seed in this competition, defeating the 6th seed. And what are the scores? 5-11, 11-7, 3-11, 11-5, 12-10, 11-8. Ophiong Edem starting on the back foot, but eventually taking the final 3 sets in this 7-game encounter. And she has secured a place in the semi-finals. What's the draw going to look like? That's something anyone would want to know, because we already know that the top seed, Dina Mishref of Egypt, won in straight sets 4-0 against Christy Bristol of the Seychelles. So we've got our winner, Ophiong Edem. The next match is going to be starting in just over 8 minutes time. It's going to be between between Linda Lockraibi and Farah Abdelaziz. 5-11, 11-7, 3-11, 11-5, 12-10, 11-8. As we see the pictures of the women as they were making their way to the court. So, time for us to get a little break as we wait for the next game that's going to be started, as the next team is going to be marching in the next 4 minutes. And we'll let you take a look at the highlights of that match between Ophiong Edem and Safa Saidan of Tunisia. So, welcome back, and it is time to get quarterfinal number 3 of the women's singles at the ITTF Continental Cup Africa that's taking place at the Moi International Sports Center Indoor Gymnasium. Linda Lograibi, as usual, setting up half one, which is her source of video analysis with Coach Mustafa and her corner. And she's going to be facing Farah Abdelaziz of Egypt. So, how did they get to this point in this competition? What were their groups like? And for Abdelaziz, she finished second in Group 3, and this was after losing her opening game against Safa Saidani, who we saw play in the previous quarterfinal. She lost 12-10, 11-8, then won 11-2, then lost eventually 11-9. Then won the next game 11-6, 9-11, 13-11, 11-7, and won, and that was against Amadine Litobaka before winning the final game against South Africa's Musfiku Kalam. She won that game by 3 games to 1 of 5-11, 15-13, 11-7, and 11-6. Her opponent was Farah Abdelaziz. She and for Lograibi, we watched her play yesterday. Actually, we got an opportunity to follow her through 2 games. She finished top of the women's singles in Group 4 with 6 points after winning all her matches. She won, as she was second seeded. She won 3-2 against the top seed Young Dem, then went on to win 3-2 against Abir Haj Salah and won by 3 games to 2 against Nandishwari Jalim. She's one woman who was put under a lot of pressure, and let's see how she's going to respond at this point in time. That is her cell phone. That is where every match she plays is recorded. That is a very strong sense that she's got a kind of discipline and a direction that she wants to take. Video analysis. Daniel, when you played, I mean, video analysis was quite a big phenomenon. It was all about memory. How much
Yes.
have you seen it change the total approach to the game today?
It has changed everything. Imagine being able to go back and see where you went wrong or seeing what you did right. In our days, there was nothing like that. You only said, oh, that's what I did wrong, and it ended there. But now you can see, you can go back to the clip, see what you did wrong, talk with the coach, and the coach can advise you. Even you yourself, you can see what you did wrong and know where to correct it. That's the change that we have been having in the digital era. And now, as they continue to warm up, sizing each other up also, even as they try to get rid of the butterflies in the stomach. The Egyptian in the all-black outfit, Farah, and Lograibi in the yellow and black. And now they're getting ready to start the game. Just final use of the towel, and they come back to the table. Farah serving.
The first point going to Abdelaziz, who's on serve. She's in all black and has got her hair fully covered. And across the net is Lograibi.
Wow. Did you see that serve?
I mean, the kind of turn on that ball.
Wow. Lograibi gets a point from a serve also, a straight point.
The fourth women's quarterfinal being played concurrently with this one. Sora Hanfu of Cameroon against Olufunke Oshonaike of Nigeria. Oh, what a rally.
What a good rally. And you could see both wings, backhand and forehand, coming into play with both players using both wings.
Another point going the way of Abdelaziz.
And very often when you get to attacking players, the defense is actually what matters. The way somebody blocks, the way somebody reads a serve, that's what helps a player win.
4-2 it is in this first game. We've got Abdelaziz, who is the 3rd seed, against the 5th seed, Lograibi. Oh, what a rally.
What a good rally.
That final touch from Lograibi. It went all the way to the VIP area. Ricocheted back, touched the coach, Mustafa, who's got to throw it back onto the court. Well, another serve that caught Abdelaziz off guard.
Off guard, yes. And you can see these two players are not afraid of attacking, and they are very fast and they are precise in what they do.
Well, the ball touched the net, and that immediately got Abdelaziz off balance. She hadn't anticipated that the ball would be on such a low flight. Wow, what a serve. 6-4 to Abdelaziz. 4 games needed to win this contest.
Abdelaziz has got very fast services, long, fast services, but on the other hand, Lograibi has been giving short backspin services.
Abdelaziz leading 7-5. She's on serve.
Again, the first service, but this time Lograibi brings it back well. And you can see the variation of the services that Abdelaziz is giving, but they're mostly very quick services, very fast.
And this coming off a high toss of the ball.
Yes. That must have been a top spin, judging by the way Lograibi hit the ball out.
Lograibi happy that that ball did not land on her court. And the game is now at 8-7. (9-7) now. Abdelaziz back on serve. An opportunity for her to keep pushing her opponent. And she gets to 10. She's on game point. She waits for Lograibi to get behind the table. And with that serve, she wins it, 11-7 in the first.
And that last service was probably the only backspin service that he gave. All the others were topside, quick services, except that last one. And you see the coach actually, it's like encouraging Abdelaziz to keep on attacking.
Well, just looking at my commentator information system as we take a look at the replay from the action from that first game, and the winning point from Abdelaziz is that Olufunke Oshenaike has lost her first match against Sarah Hanfu of Cameroon. She's a game down. She has to fight back and see if she can get through to it. Coach Mustafa, as usual, at that corner. He's colonized that corner, so to speak. And Lograibi, who's had a lot of conversation with him, Lograibi has had to go through 2 5-setters at the group phase. This is a 7th game contest. She may not want to go that far.
And this time, Lograibi gives a long serve, which catches Abdelaziz unaware.
One all.
Oh, she misses that one, costing her the point.
While taking her time to size up that serve.
Beautiful backhand by Abdelaziz. And you can see that these two players, they are very quick players, they are offensive players, and they move along, around the table. They have very good footwork. Lograibi's third ball attack is not, she's getting the third ball attack, but the fifth ball attack is what is worrying her, because Abdelaziz is pushing it back to her backhand, and she is actually missing the subsequent drive.
Well, another point lost by Log Rugby, 5-1 up to Abdelaziz. She's got that kind of spring. She wants to keep the game going. Seeded third, her teammate Dina Sharif, who's the top seed, has already made her impact felt in this tournament. And that went spinning away. You could even see from the trajectory of that ball that it had a lot of spin as she tried to make that return, going towards Abdelaziz's left and then tended to move towards the center.
It's also interesting the way Lograibi is going to her forehand to receive the ball with her backhand. Like there again also.
3-6.
The backhand return from Abdelaziz failing her.
And actually she did a long service, which is very rare for her. A long, fast service like the one Abdelaziz normally gives.
Whoa! Wow, what a sound. Took a turn, I mean, almost from the center. Went almost right to the edge of the table. And you know, if you just look at Lograibi's motion, she thought it would actually be landing center, but turned away.
Yes, turned away.
Trying a reverse serve of that, but this time did not go round. Did not go her way.
Abdelaziz has got, she places the ball in different places. She would give you one at the edge of the table, then she would bring you back near the table, into the table, and then to your backhand, and then to your forehand. She's actually varying the services, the places that she serves in.
Well, she scores another point, 8-5 up. She's a game up.
And Lograibi loses that one. Wow.
A point for Lograibi, 9-6.
Just touches the net and goes out. Just misses the edge of the table. There we can see the shake hand grip.
Well, she wins that point. It's 10-6 to her. Abdelaziz. And she picks the game, 11-6. It's 2 games up in this 7-game encounter between Linda Lograibi, who is from Algeria, against Farah Abdelaziz of Egypt. The Egyptian who's in all black, as we see Lograibi and her coach Mustafa. This is Abdelaziz with a coach Zhao Ling, who's trying to show her the kinds of motions. Go for the top spin, try keep it in a particular motion. 2 up, 2 more games, a minimum of 2 games required to win this contest. A minimum of 2 games, as we see the coaches giving their instructions to their charges. That's the scoreboard you could see right there on the table as Abdelaziz makes her way back to the table for the start of the third game of this contest. Abdelaziz to serve first. She's 2 games up in this quarterfinal. Drops the first point. Lograibi will be happy with that. And a point to Abdelaziz. They're 1-1 in the third.
And again, we saw the peculiar way in which Lograibi is picking the service with her backhand on her forehand. And it seems to be working for her. That was a very heavy backspin, which Abdelaziz could not get over the net. It's 2-2 now. A very fast service, which Abdelaziz did not expect Lograibi to bring back to her, and it caught her off guard. Three-two. And Abdelaziz drives the ball out with a backhand. Don't you think she's feeling a bit hot with the attire that she has on? What if it was a very hot day?
Well, I'd have to say this. Anybody who's lived who's been to North Africa knows how hot it can get. So for her, she's quite comfortable. It's everyday wear for her, so she's adopted. And, you know, even at times, it actually works as a kind of, you know, it keeps the heat there, and the other times it acts as a radiator. Unless you probably get a fever, as a light service called. So she's quite comfortable and at home with it.
Okay.
And it's now 4-4. From our commentary position, we could see Holding, the coach of Abdelaziz, so happy. The Egyptians have hired the services of the Chinese to manage their team.
She raised the ball too much, and it went out. I can see a case of nerves coming in, because in the earlier games, she never made such mistakes. But in this one, Lograibi is really pushing her.
Well, you can tell she's trying to shake the tension off.
Yes.
By jogging as much as she can.
Lovely drive across table. You can see again the movement as she skips to her left and positions herself to take it with the forehand.
Oh, she tried to, you know, kind of softly place that towards the edge of the table. Did not work for her. She's 6-5 down. Abdelaziz. 6-6 it is. It's the third game, and Abdelaziz is 2 games up. And if you're joining us on KTTA broadcast channels, on Facebook, on YouTube, also through our Twitter channel, it's the women's quarterfinals. It's Litna Lograibi of Algeria against Farah Abdelaziz of Egypt. Abdelaziz is on serve. She's in all black and she's 7-6 up. The ITTF Continental Cup Africa, the Moi International Sports Center, Kasrai.
Yes, the game has picked pace again, with both players driving and blocking the ball according to the way the ball has come to them. And you could see the spin, the final spin on that ball, which Abdelaziz misjudged.
Well, Log Rabi meditating with that ball on her bat. And it does work. She scores that point, 8-7 up.
Point for Abdelaziz, and it's now 8-all. This time they're moving point for point, point for point. Oh, completely misjudged that. It was such a high and open ball. Should have made better use of that.
Well, she was definitely going for the corner. And
yes,
you could see that even Log Rabi felt like, all right, I couldn't get to this. Let me just try get the block. But she was lucky. She's got that point. Log Rabi 9-8 in the third.
Oh.
And that's 10 points now for Log Rabi.
The ball hit the edge of the bat.
So, Log Rabi is on serve. She could be serving for this game. She loses the point. It's now 10-9. Abdelaziz, who's leading 2 games to love, gets on serve. Well, still, yes, she still has got 1 serve.
Yes.
Well, the sum is odd. It's 19. Yes. It's the 20th point of the game.
Oh,
and that third game goes the way of Linda Log Rabi of Algeria, and she wins it 11-9. Against Farah Abdelaziz of Egypt. The 3rd seed against the 5th seed in this competition. And the implication of this, it's now 2-1. We've got to play 6 sets. Actually, we've got to play a minimum of 5 sets for a winner to be decided. Farah Abdelaziz taking the first 2, 11-7 and 11-6. Now, the third has gone 11-9, the way of Log Rabi. It's a 7-game contest. This is at the championship level, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the final. The quarterfinals being played today, the semifinals and the final being played tomorrow on the 3rd and final day of this championship. And from 1400 hours GMT or 5 p.m. East African time, if you'd like to take a look at it that way, then we shall be having the men's quarterfinals, and our commentary match will have Saheed Idowu and Segun Toriola. 2 Nigerians, but 1 Nigerian, Saheed Idowu, is playing in the colors of Congo Brazzaville, while Segun Toriola playing in the colors of Nigeria, and later Med Saleh against Sami Heruf.
They have changed the ball. That's why they've been given just about a minute to test that ball.
Well, the kind of punishment that the ball had been taking previously with some of the rallies and
severe punishment. have started on a very high pace, huh?
Yes, that's the first ball of the fourth, and they've already decided it's all-out aggression. And that's a drive from Laziz. Well, she's lucky that it just landed because it touched the net on its way to scoring that point. And Lok Raibi had to chase across that end line that she had. She basically had no real estate. I mean, there was so much real estate to catch up on. She couldn't get to that ball. Loses again. 3 love up. Abdelaziz who's on serve. And another point for Abdelaziz. And finally, Lok Raibi gets her first point of this game. It's 4-1. She's on serve. But drops the point.
Abdelaziz is giving Lok Raibi heavy backspin so that she can't lift it with her backhand. It's becoming a heavy task. That's a good rally, and Lok Raibi closed the ball out.
6-1 it is in this fourth game of the contest. And you can see Abdelaziz not happy with it. You can actually tell from what she was trying. There's always that reaction. How did my forehand go? You'd say it moved that way. How did my backhand go?
Yes. Look at the movement of Lok Raibi. She's moving so well from her backhand all the way to her forehand and then back. These are very versatile players with very good movement, very good footwork.
Whoa. You've got to love the agility of Abdelaziz. She's quite a tall player, and she had to, you know, bend backwards.
Yes.
To make that return that Lok Raibi was not able to deal with.
I think she took that ball for granted, and she had already counted it even before it went in. She knew it was a point.
I say it's always dangerous to make assumptions around movements of the ball. That's a totally different story.
Wow, that's a nice rally.
And you could see that at every motion. Lok Raibi was to block, but eventually wondered what went wrong.
Yes.
Lok Raibi is on serve. She's 4-8 down in the fourth.
Abdelaziz had better not relax. We have seen players with a deficit of 5 points catching up and taking the game. So Abdelaziz had better not relax.
And another point going the way of Abdelaziz. She is on serve. It's the 15th point of this game. That went out, and she's in 10. She's going to be serving probably for a third game she's going to win out of 4. We're in the 4th. It's 10-5 to Abdelaziz. Oh, and she takes it 11-5. She's now leading 3 games to 1 in this women's singles quarterfinals of the ITTF Continental Cup Africa, happening at the Moi International Sports Center Indoor Arena in Nairobi. Daniel, an analysis of game number 4 in this contest. For Abdelaziz is 3-1 up, and when play resumes, she just could be serving for the match.
Yes. That game actually picked up quite a lot of speed. You could see both players were out and out attacking, and it's as though they had decided it's do or die, because both players were going all out on attack, and you could also see their movement along the table. Their movement was aggressive. They were not holding back anything, and even the way Abdelaziz finished the final point, it was a service which was very fast and very long. And normally, people are usually afraid of giving long attacks, long services, because it might be attacked easily and give you a disadvantage. And that actually has set the tone for the game. Let's see how this other game goes along. Will it be the final game, or will there be another game after that?
It's the 5th game. It's a minimum we can play, and this is after Log Raibi took game number 3 away from Abdelaziz. And so Abdelaziz, who's 3 games to 1 up on serve. And she drops the first point of her serve. She still has got the serve. With those drives, and she levels the score from that rally.
That was a good first service from Lograibi, and Abdelaziz could not make a good return. And the ball went out.
You could see, I mean, she just looked down in desperation from that motion of her hand. And it's level now.
The rallies are very, very fast and very interesting.
Oh, and that return again, the backhand return not working for Abdelaziz. Those are 3 now.
Yes.
And they've cost her the points. She's 4-1 down in the 5th. Oh, the rally was going well, and again.
And this time we're seeing Lograibi actually being the attacker. She's on the offense throughout, and putting Abdelaziz on the on the back pedal.
Abdelaziz is leading 3 games to 1, but in this game she's 5 points to 1 down.
Yeah.
That went out. Didn't see a hand coming in from Log Raibi, and so Abdelaziz gets a 2nd point in this game. She does win another point, 6-2.
And this time we're seeing Lograibi's backhand actually working. You can see. In the first and second games, the backhands were not coming in very well. But this time, they're all going in. Wow. That was a good forehand drive. Seemed to catch Abdelaziz unawares.
Just ended up being a block.
Yes.
All right. That was basically, I mean, Lograibi keeping her eyes off the ball.
Yes.
Seven-3 it is. It's the 5th game of this 3rd quarterfinal. And another point going to Lograibi. And for every point that comes her way, it pulls a cheer from her.
And again, it was through her backhand.
Oh, that was a rally that was going so well, and Abdelaziz not making the return, lands at the net, 9-3.
And Lograibi, instead of actually blocking the ball, she pushes the ball back. So it comes back with the strength that Abdelaziz has driven it to her.
Another point for Abdelaziz. Coming off that field backhand return by Lograibi. She's on serve. And collects another one. A variation even in the way she tosses that ball. Normally we've seen her toss it way up, but this kept low. Lograibi is on serve. She's 9-5 up.
Oh,
and collects that point.
She did not treat that service well and flipped it out.
And she takes the game 11-5, and they're now at 2-3. Linda Lograibi of Algeria has got 2 games after winning this one. 11-5. So we're going into a 6th game in this contest. And the 2 players go to their respective corners. You can see Mustafa at the edge of your screen, giving the instructions to Lograibi, and just across we could see Abdelaziz getting instructions from a coach, Xiaoling from China. Coach Mustafa, also Algeria.
Our favorite coach, Mustafa, our favorite coach.
Actually, he's been appearing so many times. I think this is the 5th commentary match you're doing over the last 2 days that involves Algeria. So, he's become part and parcel of the commentary.
Oh, yes.
A 6th game, could we see Lograibi force a decisive 7th? Or is Farah Abdelaziz going to seal it with this 6th game? 4 required to win, as it is a 7-game contest.
Lograibi uses a backhand and gets the first point of the match. Oh, unlucky shot. And you could see the reaction of the coach. Very good forehand from Lograibi after the long rally. There's that peculiar way of Lograibi receiving with her backhand from her forehand, and it actually works for her.
Oh, what a drive, and that is Lograibi's now forehand, backhand, but going 4-1 up. Farah Abdelaziz knows well that she probably had this game under wraps, but the recovery by Lograibi forcing this game to go into a 6th has changed everything, and we could be headed to a 7th.
Abdelaziz must be wondering what's happening now.
Oh, that's another one. Goes way outside, flies side of the table. And it is now 5-1.
I wonder why she decided to put a backspin on the ball instead of continuing with the rally.
And another point. That forehand just goes flying past the table, and Lograibi seems to be so happy about it. And you know, with every yell that she gives, pressure piles up on Abdelaziz.
And it seems like things have stopped working for Abdelaziz. A point for Abdelaziz.
And another point for Abdelaziz. She's going to be happy with any point picked at this point. Lograibi knows she's chasing the game.
Oh, yes. Yes, she does. Because if Abdelaziz wins this one, it's all over.
Yes. And there it is. And 6-4. Abdelaziz on serve. She knows she's got the upper hand in the game. Her composure is what really matters at this point.
Oh, yes.
Interesting that none of the coaches have called for a timeout.
Yes. Actually, no timeout has been called for.
No timeout has been called for. And trying to call for it, that it went inside, but that went way past the net. It's out. It's 7-4 to Lograibi. Well, it's like she was trying to tell the ball, hey, no, not that way, this way. Well, a 2-point game it is. Lograibi is going to be on serve, and she's going to feel the pressure that comes with chasing a game. She's 7-5 ahead in the 6th game.
And for the first time, Abdelaziz has given a war cry.
We haven't had any war cry coming from her, but she knows that it carries value at this point. Yeah, 7-6. Well, if you do speak Arabic, then you would know what she is saying. And a timeout, actually, we mentioned it, has been called.
The first timeout of the match. And Abdelaziz actually is whittling away at the lead that Lograibi has.
Yeah, she's done that. As this continues, what we can say, I mean, I can mention that although Funke Oshonaike of Nigeria has been eliminated 4-2 at the quarterfinals by Cameroon's Sarah Hanfu. So we already know of Young Edem from Nigeria, having made it through. We also know that Dina Mishref, the top seed, has made it through. Sarah Hanfu from Cameroon has made it through. This is the one game that is yet to complete the semi-final lineup for the ITTF Continental Cup Africa 2018 Women's Singles Competition. The 4 women remaining, all going for $25,000.
What a shot. What a shot from Lograibi.
Well, looks like some advertising hoarding fell as Abdelaziz was going for the ball that went to other courts within the arena, at the tables rather. She's on serve. And another point to Lograibi. It's a relief for her, but for Abdelaziz, so much pressure.
Nine seven.
Yes, 9-7.
Game of nerves now.
No, scores are still at 9-6. It has been called as a let's have.
Yes.
That's the signal from the that's the kind of message that seems to be getting across. No one seems to be sure. Yes, there's the umpire's arm. It's stretched out.
Let's service.
It's a let's service.
It's a let's service.
So the scores should be at 9-6. Abdelaziz hadn't picked that point yet. So still consulting with the umpire. Because from, I mean, just a replay of that serve, you know, would serve, would help us see.
Yes. What really transpired.
Because it has eaten into the time of this game, and like other sports, the players actually don't have this level. They don't have the chance to go for a video review. They have to go by the umpire's word. So it's a let serve, and it stays as a let serve.
The umpire's word is final.
So back to 9-6.
And she loses it?
She loses it. 10-6. It must have taken some steam out of her, the umpire's decision, because she moved up to the umpire's chair and tried to argue her case.
Yes.
That it wasn't a let serve, that it actually went back, and the scoring umpire had not even called for it and had given the score. Oh,
she's taking it.
Lograibi takes that one, and we're going into a decisive 7th in this women's quarterfinal.
Seed 3 against seed 5.
They are tied at 3-all. We're moving into a decisive 7th game. What's a moment we've had in this game? Farah Abdulaziz of Egypt, who's in all black, starting off the contest with an 11-7 win in the first game against Linda Lograibi. Took the second 11-6, dropped the third, and when Lograibi took it 11-9, but then Abdulaziz Farah taking the fourth 11-5, but then the last two have belonged to Lograibi, 11-5 and 11-7. We're moving into the 7th set. This is going to be the decisive one. The game has taken, you know, much longer than the allocated 50 minutes, but the tournament must continue. And after this quarterfinal, we're going to be having the men's singles quarterfinals. And there's still the playoffs for the tail end positions, which are going to be played simultaneously. That is in the men's and women's competitions for positions 9, 11, 13, and 15. Farah Abdelaziz and Linda Lograibi get back to their tables. And it's going to be the start of the 7th and final set of this women's singles quarterfinals at the ITT Continental Cup Africa. The first point goes to Lograibi.
The ball just touches the net and goes out. And Abdelaziz puts too much spin on the ball and it goes out. There we are.
Oh, a third straight point for Lograibi. And you can see Abdelaziz has resorted probably to, you know, stomping her feet with every shot that she makes.
Yes.
And a timeout has been called immediately after those 3 points. And it's definitely by the Egyptian corner asking what exactly is happening. Just look at his motion. He doesn't look like a happy man at all.
Yes. She's taking a moment to calm her nerves and just steady herself. Could we be seeing the first upset of the tournament? Actually, the second. Actually, the second. Eh?
This should be the second upset.
Second, yeah.
Because the other upset was Olufunke Oshonaike of Nigeria losing to Sarah Hansu.
Yes.
And this is in the second day of this competition. On serve is Lograibi after the 1-minute timeout. And she scores another point. She's followed up in the 7th.
That was a beautiful drive. Forehand drive across the table. Abdelaziz gets a point. And it's her serving now. Point to Lograibi. Lograibi's forehand drives are really helping her to destabilize Abdelaziz. They're both very offensive players, and more often than not, when you get two very offensive players, the defense is what matters. It's what brings a very great bearing on the game and who is going to win.
Oh,
Wow.
that ball just tended to land on her wrist. Lograibi 6-1 up in the 7th set, which is the final set. And at the beginning of this match, she was 2 games down.
Let's see the service. Wow. That was well taken by Abdulaziz. She actually flipped the ball back to Lograibi, who was taken by surprise.
Concentration in her face. Half an hour ago, she thought she had this in the bag. Now, could go either way. And another point scored by her, right at the corner.
That was a very nice backhand down the line. You can see the frustration in her actions, stamping her feet and almost like cursing at herself or swearing or something like that.
Only she knows what she's been saying to herself. Well, thank God. I think I only know Salam Alaikum in Arabic. It's a let's have. The rally going her way, and Abdelaziz basically just put a little of more turn on that ball and goes out. It didn't land on Lograibi's court, and she tried to do that block. Actually looked like she just stretched her hand.
Yes.
She didn't have any particular direction she wanted that ball to go, so long as it landed on Lograibi's court. And Lograibi is 8-3 up.
Lograibi's attacks have been becoming stronger and stronger as the game progresses. She has actually been forcing Abdelaziz to be defensive.
8-4. Lograibi needs 3 points. Abdelaziz needs minimum 7 to clinch the game. A point for Abdelaziz at 8-5 now. She needs some pressure relieved from her. Lograibi will be very disappointed with that final touch that puts the game at 8-6. It was a rally that, didn't have so much speed, but the moment she decided to go for it, you could tell the change of pace, the change of power, the change of motion.
And it's the first time we are seeing a long rally using backspin.
Yes.
It's like they're becoming a bit more careful. Again, we see the rallies using...
Oh! The net! Working for Lograibi there.
That is hard luck.
And how Abdelaziz did not break her butt from her reaction. Yes. That double turn, that double bounce on the table really got Abdelaziz mad. There's nothing she could do about it.
There was nothing she could do. And it's now 9-6. Leaving a match point for Lograibi. And 3 points for Abdelaziz to catch up. Oh, what a service.
Now, he's on match point. (10-6) it is in the 7th and decisive set. Lograibi, who was 2 games down at the start of this contest, has finally recovered and pushed this one to 7.